Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Unfiltered. Today we have got a phenomenal independent bottler in the building with us. Very, very excited to get stuck in. Before we do, Dram Pirate, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
All good, Stevie, yeah? Yes. Wicked. Yes. Georgie, Whisky Kid?
The Whisky Kid, yeah. Thank you. I was going to say I have my own name now.
I know.
Yes,
She's got her own handle. Kid. Check it out online.
A grown woman,
make sure you follow
but
her.
the Whisky Kid is my handle.
Wicked.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Excited to be here.
Excited for this one?
Yes, always.
Fantastic. Well, everyone, welcome to the building, Georgie Bell. Now, Georgie, you used to be, I knew you briefly as the global malts brand ambassador for Bacardi. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, Diageo. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, Scotch Malt Whisky Society. You've been in whiskey for how long? 15 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you've got a good bit of experience behind you, to say the least. But today you are here with your not so new brand anymore. You've been around for a minute now, really.
Yeah.
The Heart Cut. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about the Heart Cut. When was it founded? What is your thoughts with this?
Thanks. And it's lovely to be here as well.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Yeah, it's great to have you.
So my husband and I founded the Heart Cut in September of 2023.
Okay.
3 days before we had our twin girls. So the last 20 months have been, I didn't tell you that in the car, did I?
You missed that little part out.
Yeah, small detail. So the last 20 months have been quite busy.
You don't like sleeping, I'm guessing. You just
Sleepers for the week.
Yeah, right, okay. Wow, that's a big undertaking. Is it something that you had built up to? Or
yeah, we've been working on it for a while.
It wasn't
in the background.
Pregnancy madness and you just decided last minute, why not?
No, that would be crazy.
Yeah, okay.
So I love independent bottlers. I think a lot of us, we all do here, right? And I, as you said, started my career at the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. Behind the bar, while I was there, I did a second degree in distilling with the IBD, the diploma.
Cool.
And got the highest mark in the world, which is very nice.
Oh.
Finished.
In the world.
That's pretty good.
And then I, became their global brand ambassador and just fell in love with the model of independent bottlers and the idea of single casks. I love that they're like snowflakes. I love the idea of once they're gone, they're gone. And I love how expressive they are and how different and varied they can be, right? And in my time working in the industry, I've seen whiskey change quite a lot. I've seen it change geographically and demographically. When I started out, it was mainly Scotch, American, a little bit of Japanese on the scene in terms of where whiskey was from.
Okay.
And now whiskey's not just drunk around the world, but it really is made around the world. Because if you think about kind of what you need to make whiskey, so grain, yeast and water, you can get that anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You need a lot of money, you need patience, and you need time. Again, you can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, whiskey really doesn't have any geographical boundaries.
Yes.
And then on top of that, I've seen the whiskey drinker change in that time. And I'm not just talking about an increase of women drinking whiskey, which is wonderful to see because that has changed quite significantly, which is incredible. But I've also seen sort of a mindset change of people along with this emergence and opening up of the world of whiskey, a curiosity about that as well.
Definitely.
Now, I used to be a bartender back in the day when I lived in Edinburgh. And also the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, where we had 200 whiskies behind the bar, right? With this opening up of the whiskey category, there's also still this sense of overwhelmingness. Where do I go next? What do I look for? Whose recommendation do I trust? And, we did a survey recently. 80% of people these days buy and drink based on recommendation. Okay.
Right.
So where do I look for? Where do I go? Which whiskey do I try? How do I get out of my comfort zone? What are those stepping stones? How do I stylistically move across geographical boundaries?
Particularly for people, like you say, who maybe previously have only focused on Irish or Scotch or American, and now there's this whole world of whiskies. You're not only dealing with Scottish sounding names and trying to figure out which is which and what means what, but now it's like a plethora globally. So you're absolutely right. It can be a bit daunting for people who aren't in your shoes.
Yeah,
right?
But it's also really exciting at the same time.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
All of these distilleries around the world. I mean, and a lot of the distilleries that we work with at the Heart Cut, they've been founded by friends with a passionate dream.
Right.
Who've been who've had that, I like to call it the why not what if.
Okay.
right? Why doesn't whiskey come from our country when we have all of those ingredients in front of us? And what if we did that?
Yeah.
The story of Corry in Finland, I love it. We actually did our third bottling with them. A couple of friends sitting in a sauna drinking American whiskey. Finland's known for its rye bread as its national dish.
Okay.
And of course they were in a sauna because Finland is a land of 5 million people and 2.2 million saunas.
Right.
So they're drinking American whiskey in a sauna, saying to each other, for a land known for its rye and for a land known for people who like drinking whiskey, why is there no Finnish rye whiskey?
Yeah.
And what if we were the ones to do that? Like, isn't that cool?
Yeah, definitely.
For
And
sure.
so there's all of these people across the world. So with this sort of rise in whiskey across the world, with the rise in the curiosity, but also mixed with that, the rise of the, where do I go next? And combining that with the freedom of the model of an independent bottler, my husband and I decided to found the Heart Cut.
I love it. That's really cool.
Good story.
Yeah, definitely. But a lot of purpose within that.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
Definitely.
I love independent bottlings because I think if you, and I'll talk a little bit about how we do them, how I think we're building an independent bottler for 2025.
Okay.
And you can 100% correct me if I'm wrong here. But I love independent bottlings because I think it gives you the freedom and flexibility to show the world how you see whiskey. An independent bottler is basically saying to someone, put on my yellow tinted glasses and see the world the way I see it.
Yes.
Right? And it allows you to curate a range of whiskies from distilleries that you absolutely love, saying, I legitimately love this distillery and I'm excited to tell you about it.
Yes.
And that is everything that we're doing with the Heart Cut. So we have, in the 20 months we've been around, we've got 15 releases out to date from 9 countries across the world. And that's working alongside 13 different distilleries because
Wow.
2 of releases have been twin casks.
Okay.
And out of those 15, only one is from Scotland, which we're going to try today, actually. Only one is from Scotland. I love Scotch. It's been my career. We talked about that before. I think there's a whole world of whiskey out there as well that we're really excited by. And out of those 15, all 15 have been bought directly from the distillery. Cool. We do not work with cask brokers at all. So that's really important. And that's like a really important thing for us because...
And for the people at home, why is that so important, Georgie?
So with cask brokers and whiskey brokers, I think there are some great ones out there, right? But typically the way it works is they're kind of middlemen. And again, you can correct me here because I'm not super wise on it because I've never worked as a cask broker. But the middlemen that have stores of casks from various distilleries. And the way I see it on my end as an independent bottler is every once in a while I get sent a spreadsheet saying, we have all of these whiskies. This is a list of dates, a list of distillery names, a list of cask types, and a list of prices. And that's what you get.
Yes.
Right? There's no romance in that. There's no transparency in that. So we don't buy from cask brokers. We buy directly from our distilleries because it means ultimately everything that the distillery knows about the whiskey, the drinker knows about the whiskey.
Right.
And it also means, at the end of the day, we're not making this whiskey, they are. But we do everything that we can. Having worked in advocacy and marketing for so long, we do everything that we can to tell their story. So you'll notice from our labels, half of our labels are split in half for us and half for the partner distillery, right? And the distillery name, you can actually read it. You can actually see the font is big enough that you can see what that distillery is, right? And you scan this QR code, it takes you to why the cask made the cut. It takes you to the story of the distillery, what we loved about the distillery and why we've partnered with them. For every release that we do, we then host a virtual tasting where we invite people to try other whiskies from that distillery's range. Because the Heart Cut is not just an independent bottler, but an opportunity for people to discover new favourites through us. And after we were founded, my brother phoned me up and he was like, gee, I was in a bar last night and I saw a bottle of Corry, not your Corry. And I was like, yeah, of course not, but theirs. And I had a dram of it and I loved it. I'd never heard of the distillery before. You introduced me to them through your bottling. And I'm so glad that you did. Thanks for letting me know about them. It's a super cool story. And again, I think that's what you should be doing in 2025 as an independent bottler. We're not making the whiskey, they are.
Yeah.
Why are we not telling their story with as much glory as they deserve? They're cool stories.
You're giving them like a platform.
They're cool stories.
For sure.
Right?
It's lovely to hear you talk like that. I have to say, obviously, as independent bottlers ourselves in our sort of more professional life, we don't hear, I certainly don't, you tell me if I'm wrong, Stevie, I don't hear independent bottlers talking with that much passion. And that's the angle that we come at it from. We always say, as an independent bottler, we feel perfectly positioned to act as an ambassador for the whole industry. Yeah. And like you say, with certain distilleries, it's like anything, you know, if you don't know about cars or watches and then someone teaches you and you get interested and then you start noticing watches or cars everywhere. And, I've noticed this, I wouldn't have spotted that bottle, but because Georgie introduced, now I see it. And all of a sudden, like you say, that passion starts spreading. And no doubt then that person will do exactly what you're doing. Oh, by the way, mate, have a little go on this. And 100%. This is what, And all of a sudden, we are all ambassadors for the industry. I think it's such a key part of being an independent bottler.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody else speak about it like that. We talk about this all the time, and it's lovely to hear that passion come through. It's very genuine. It's so rare.
Refreshing.
It is so refreshing to hear because I think, you know, we do a lot of that on the content side of things. You know, we don't really make content about ourselves at all.
Yeah.
People get very confused by that. Like, why are you making a video about Gnaliki or whatever? Like, why aren't you talking about your products? Because without them,
we don't have products.
We wouldn't have a product.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's awesome to hear you sort of share that sort of that passion for sharing distillery stories. You know.
And Georgie, before we jump into the spirits, you said you founded it with your husband.
Yes.
Sorry, what's his name?
Fabrizio.
Fabrizio. Fab. Okay, that's Fab. And out of interest, does he have a history in spirits, in whiskey?
Yeah.
Okay, he does as well. Fantastic. Yeah,
he has a history in drinks.
Okay.
So he started as a bartender in London and then worked for Sweet and Chili, the events agency, based in London, became their events manager, and then has worked after that from like from an agency perspective, on like experiential marketing. So not just with drinks, but with other brands as well.
And with a multitude of brands.
And what's wonderful about that, and I don't know if you found this as brother, sister starting to work together. You had to start to learn how to work together. But with...
We're still learning.
Yeah, Jake just has to listen to me more. That's what happened.
In the time that we would learn, in the time in which we were sort of planning what does the heart cut look like? What is it? What is it that makes us stand out? You know, why are we doing this and why would people want this, right? Because it's all well and good to you saying you want to do something, but if there's not an appetite or a thirst for it, then, you know, you've got to think of the drinker at the end of the day.
Of course.
While we were doing that, we figured out how to work together, and it is wonderful because he loves a spreadsheet.
Oh, really?
And I think I'm allergic to that. So he's like super, like he's all about the structure and spreadsheets, and he does all of our operations and logistics, and finance and everything like the back end.
Okay.
Whereas I do all of our marketing, brand ambassador stuff, because obviously that's my background.
For sure.
All of the distillery liaisons, all of the writing.
Sounds like you balance each other out.
Very nice
well.
team. Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually really nice because it's like, I was saying to you this morning, Fab wrote something and then I was looking after the kids at the time and he was like, can you actually just check this over and write what we actually should be writing here. So it was like a tag team of he'd put down the facts and then I actually into like, okay, well, we don't say it like that, do we?
It's not our brand voice. Come on.
No, it's not that, but you know.
For sure. Fair enough. Cool.
He loves whiskey and he is so enthused. He loves whiskey. So it's a really nice pairing.
Lovely.
Actually. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I have to say, you've got me thirsty now. I'm intrigued. Where are we going to start? You said we're going to start with some Irish?
Yeah, we're going to start with that small bottle there. With a JJ Corry collab
Awesome.
that we do.
Absolutely love
Have you
JJ
had
Corry.
anything from JJ Corry before?
Love JJ Corry.
Yeah,
It was
great.
actually at the beginning of COVID. I've never met Louise, but what was that? There was that app that everyone started using at the beginning of COVID, and it was like...
Was it the voice one?
Yeah, it was the radio.
No, what was it?
I can't remember what it was called.
What was it that it did?
Rooms to talk about different things. Blair Bowman and Louise McGain.
Are you talking about like
McGain?
breakout rooms?
No, it was
Like
I can't
on
remember what-
Zoom?
It was basically a way of people connecting over COVID, and it was this new thing. It was almost like radio. You could tune in and listen to people talk, and then you could request to become like a speaker in the room.
Oh my God, I did not know this.
So I started doing that over the beginning of COVID and listened a lot to Louise, and and I find her business fascinating. I would love to do a JJ Corry collab. So really interested to try this one. This is
well, I'll pour some out.
Stevie, have you tried much from JJ Corry?
Not too much. I think the last thing we tried was recently, actually, from Cannon Heads.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't denoted, but they on the
They said as much,
but they
did they?
said it in the shop.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Georgie, sorry, a little bit about this whiskey, or do you want us to try it blind?
Do you want to try it blind?
Yeah, cool.
And
I don't
then
mind. Whatever way
and then
you
we
want to
can
let
talk
us
about
know.
JJ Corry and how much I love Louise.
And this is the only Irish as well. Because I have to say, everything that you've explained to me now makes so much sense about your brand. But when I was looking at it online, I was like, I wonder why only one Irish and one Scotch. I wonder what the thought process is behind that.
We
It
have
makes
others.
complete
You
sense.
know.
Yeah, we've
Makes
got
complete
some
sense. I like
others
it.
lined up, but yeah, one for now.
And out of interest, obviously sourcing direct from the distilleries, I think it's an admirable thing to do. And I think that the way you're going about it is really traditional, I suppose, right? And I think that that's the best way of doing it, because if you want to support the distilleries, it's working directly in collaboration. Are there any distilleries, and I'll pick a couple off the top of the dome, Springbank, Bruichladdich, where they don't really sell casks direct anymore, but you'd really love to be able to bottle something like that?
Yeah, I feel like there's two things to say in that.
Oh, go on.
So, first of all, I used to work brand side, right? I can't tell you the amount of times I got emails from independent bottlers saying, please, can I buy a cask of whiskey?
I can, because I'm the sort of person that sends out those emails ad nauseum. I'll keep trying until people tell me to piss off.
But for,
You've
the,
got to.
but for the most part, I'd look at them and be like, yeah, sure, that would be a slight bit of like income coming in right now, but what are you going to do to tell my brand story through that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
what are we gaining from this sort of thing?
What's in it for us?
Yeah.
And we've made the whiskey. I mean, look, I wasn't a decision maker on it, but I got the emails and then speak to my team. I'm like, no, because, every single cask is an opportunity to tell your story in a different way.
Yeah.
And so the reason we're going direct to our distilleries is because of that. So we go to them with we're saying, this is what we're doing. This is how we want to tell your story. This is everything we do after launch. And actually, after year one, we sent out a roundup deck to all of our partner distilleries we'd worked with to date. And we said, this is the press coverage we got with your cask. This is how many people have tried it. This is where it's listed, so that they know, because we're all in the same boat, And then secondly, on the Springbank and Bruichladdich thing, everyone else bottles that.
Right, so you want stuff that's different.
Everyone else bottles it. And the price tags attached to it, I'm sure, are probably not accessible.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No, yeah.
And so we haven't spoken to them.
Okay.
We've only spoken to, in Scotland, we've spoken to 4 distilleries. We've bottled from one. We've got another cask coming from another. We've got samples on our kitchen table from the 3rd. And the 4th was so new that they're just not doing anything right now.
Okay.
We haven't spoken to anyone else.
Fantastic. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very different route forward.
Yeah.
Very different route forward to most indies, I
It
think.
fills a gap as well, right? A little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, obviously, we pretty much primarily bottle Scotch. Every other indie does, because Scotch is obviously great.
Well, it's access as well, right?
Accessible.
With the over 100 distilleries, you're always going to be able to find some Scotch,
you can get kind of maybe stuck in your lane a bit and not think about said brands. We've had it in English, obviously. It definitely kind of fills a gap. And as you say, you kind of the story about your brother there, it kind of opens you up to like, oh, there's other distilleries around the world doing good things, and
I also think independent bottling is very much a legacy market. There's like household names that have been around for centuries. I'm not going up against Gordon and MacPhail or Berry Brothers and Rudd. Like, that would be... And why would I launch an independent bottler today and just focus on Scotch when everyone else is doing that?
Yeah, bring something new to the game.
And Scotch isn't... We need to stop thinking of Scotch in the rest of the world. We need to start thinking of Scotch within the whiskey landscape, not removed from it.
I always find it really interesting how everyone separates Scotch out. I always separate Irish and Scotch if I'm going to separate anything.
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that, like,
whiskey started in Ireland? That's why. Whiskey started in Ireland, came over to Scotland.
I just didn't know, like, with how, you know, like your relationship with Ireland.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, and I love Irish whiskey and I
you...
love Scotch whiskey, but equally there are styles globally that I love as well. But it's just from a point of view of, if we're looking at kind of separating out Scotch, I don't understand why Irish isn't separated out as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where it started, you know. There was a time when you'd ship Scotch whiskey to Dublin to get a teaspoon in, to then get it shipped back to label it as Dublin whiskey. Like, we don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and in the same vein, I think, you know, like you say, Georgie, bringing all of these global brands into the fold and having Scotland as a part of that, again, as opposed to keeping these things separate. Ultimately, it is a global landscape now. The way that, well, I mean, maybe we shouldn't talk about the way trade is nowadays with everything that's going on, but in theory, it should be that we have an open trade market, that we're able to trade globally, and, you know, and I think it's beneficial. Scotch has been going global for how many years now? I mean, you know, let's get more of these different interesting bits from Germany, from Finland, from wherever, you know.
But also, I would sort of, in Scotch's defence, say that is kind of a new thing in the big picture, right? Like, you know, how many Australian distilleries have popped up in the last 10 years? How many, you know, English distilleries popped up in the last, you know, so it is now that kind of... Yeah,
like Georgie says, it's really been over the last 10, 15 years that we've seen this influx of change, right?
With the times now,
exactly.
You know, and as you say, getting out of that mindset.
And also a recognition that everyone has to start somewhere. You know, even us as an independent bottler, I don't expect people to trust us straight away. Yes, I've worked in whiskey for the whole of my career and I've done my
But now you're doing it under a new umbrella.
I'm doing it under a new umbrella, and we're a new independent bottler, and we're working with distilleries that people might not have come across before.
Yeah.
You know, so credibility and trust takes time to build up. And I think that's why, and I'd love to know what you think of this whiskey and as we go through, but that's why I think for us, our cask choice is even more important.
Right.
Because the bar has been raised.
Yeah.
We don't have a seat at the table. We've had to make a seat and bring it to the table, right?
Yeah.
So that's the position that we're in. So we are going above and beyond, I think, anyway, to pick really interesting whiskies that actually have a story to tell.
Yes.
But also with single class, there's nowhere to hide. And because we only bring out, you know, as I said, 15 that we've done to date, and we've got, I think, another 6 or 7 for this year, it means we can only bring out bangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't just bring out...
stuff for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to actually make sure it's worthwhile.
There's nothing that we're bringing out that's like, oh, fuck, we've fallen short of our budget, you know. Right. Sorry, can I swear? I shouldn't.
Say whatever you want. Absolutely.
Don't worry. I think you're all good on that front.
You know, none of this is like we've got to make some money quickly. Let's release like a refill, something.
It's done with purpose.
Yeah,
it's a exactly. Long game as well, right?
And on that note as well, and again, something that you must struggle with, or, you know, maybe you don't, but like you say, I think what you're doing, the brand, the ethos, lends itself very well to the new wave of whiskey drinkers that are starting to come through. Mm-hmm. But of course, you still have to deal with, and we all have to cater to the old school drinkers that have been around, because they're still a big part of the market.
Yeah.
You can't cater to the new people and forget it. You know, it's a big part. So the difficulty I'd imagine that you'll have with some of the old school drinkers who don't really know what they're talking about, who sat down with you for 15 minutes will probably learn so much. But people who say, I only drink single malt, you know, I only drink 10 years plus, I only drink X, Y, Z, whatever it is that they've been made to believe is what they like. And I said, well, hold on a minute. Try this rye from where, you know, try this. It's a different style. It's younger, but... And all of a sudden, once you can break down those barriers, I think that's where the old school drinker is starting to get left behind. And we need people like yourselves, like independence. I've been saying this. I think now is the time for independence, to bring people in, to create those communities, to drive passion. You don't have, you've worked for Diageo, you've worked for Bacardi. Your passion was there, but you were a cog in a big machine. The fact that you're now able to make all the calls and, it's your baby, it's your, all of a sudden that passion can come out a lot more.
Yeah.
It's not locked in by
passion.
This is also coming from Jake, who is through and through an entrepreneur since birth. Like, he's literally like, why would you ever work for anybody else when you could just work for yourself? I'm like, I don't know, Jake, maybe because not everybody's like that.
And on that though, look, if someone believes that an older whiskey is better and that they will only really drink 10-year-old whiskies from Scotland, that's also fine. Like, I don't think we're supposed to be for everybody. And actually, with some of the whiskies that you tried today, if you turn around to me and go, actually, that one's not for me, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we all like different things. And also, if you think a certain way, yes, I'd love to sit down and have a discussion with you. But if you're still at the end, you're like, nah, actually,
not
10-year-old Scotch. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
That's totally okay.
That's the fun of it, right?
Yeah.
There's
if everyone liked everything.
It would be so boring. Yeah, and also we'd not be able to get anything because it'd all be sold out all the time. Right? So, what do we think of this?
I really like this.
I knew you were going to like this. Yeah. This is
because you're half Irish.
Well, this is.
You are
this is really good. I like this.
I like
creamy
this.
on the forefront. I've got this
cream,
apple sherbet
I'm getting
sort of thing going on. Apple, but it's like sherbety. It's very odd.
I'm not good enough to be able to say that.
Got lemony sherbet stuff before, but apple sherbet is very.
It's just sweet. It's just really nice.
Yeah.
It's
got
nice.
All right, Harrison Ford. It's nice.
It's nice.
That's
what I say on every podcast now. It's nice.
It's like a very light apple crumble. And there's also this really, for me, I'm getting this really nice kind of fresh pine note at the end there. I don't know.
There is a greenness to it that is, aside from the apple, I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. How old is it?
I don't know.
I'm going to get.
Do
you actually not know?
No, we can talk about it, but
I think it's about 5.
Probably, but we don't really lead with age on our whiskeys. ABV? I'll tell you everything about 49? It. I just don't really think we need to lead with age. 48.
Ooh,
okay,
nice.
Close. I thought it was a little bit higher.
Would you like to know about this whiskey?
Yeah, tell us all
of the
about
tasting notes is spot on. And basically, I wanted to create a whiskey that was like a ray of sunshine in a glass.
I was going to say summer's day.
Great success.
Yeah. A whiskey that's just delicious, that you don't really need to think about too much. That you go, do you know what? That's really nice.
Yeah, give me another one of that.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to start today with it. So when we were building up the heart cut, we kind of we did like our dream list.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could partner with these distilleries list, right?
Love it. Okay.
And we've actually been able to partner with every single one of them apart from one, which is amazing.
Congratulations.
That's
cool.
That's
wicked.
As we've been going through, we've been like, which geographies haven't we done? Which flavours have we not done? Which styles? And then approaching different distilleries across the world. So it's been really exciting. And now distilleries coming to us too and saying, hey, we'd love to do a collab with you, which is really awesome. Louise, I think, is just a powerhouse Wonder Woman. And what she's done for Irish whiskey and the way that she's brought back the art of whiskey bonding back to Ireland, I think is really cool with a modern approach to it. Louise has this warehouse on her family farm, and when you visit, it's this beautiful, like idyllic stone warehouse, green fields around it, her horses grazing in the background. And you go inside and it's just a sea of casks, all like racked, not palletized, like, traditionally done. And on them, she's written different flavors, and she calls her warehouse her library of flavors, right?
Cool.
So you walk into this warehouse, or this beautiful warehouse, you not only get that smell, but you start seeing creamy hazelnut, fresh cut grass, pear, smoky bacon, pure joy, written on the side.
Pure joy is a good tasting though.
Right?
That was a bit of pure joy in fairness. It's gone, but that was good. Yeah.
So she's written all of these on the sides of her casks. And the way that she makes her whiskey is by taking a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, and blending whiskies with these casks as flavour ingredients, just as you would a cake. So this is actually a small batch, and I went over and blended it with her in September of last year.
Cool.
In terms of style-wise, so there's 4 casks in here. Okay. Not whole casks, because this is a small batch of 519 bottles. So when I say small batch, I mean small batch. Okay. Right? There's 4 casks in there. 2 of them are single pot still whiskey. One is a malt, one is a grain. So you have the full spectrum of styles of Irish whiskey in there. And then in terms of the casks, 2 of them are fully matured, one in Oloroso, one in PX. Okay. One of them is finished in Oloroso, and the other one is finished in Paharet. Now, this is my first time coming across Paharet. And basically...
What is that? Sorry?
Yeah, no, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd created this blend and out of the first 3 casks, and it was wonderful. But I said to Louise, I was like, Louise, it needs a lift. Like, it needs like a zest of a lemon on top of a martini, sort of like it needs that upper, right? And immediately she was like, we need to get the Paharet cask out. So Paharet is a fortified wine from Malaga in Spain. There's only one winery that still makes it today, and it's as thick and intense and syrupy as PX, but more orangey in style.
All right.
That's the best way I can describe it.
That sounds delicious.
And it essentially gave the whiskey like this lemon zest, orange zest boost to it. And I think it was only like 5 or 10% of the blend, but it was amazing. So that's what this is. Beautiful. So when you ask about ages, those casks were various ages. None of them were that old. None of our whiskies are that old. Mm-hmm. But the flavour was all there. So it was blended based on flavour, which is cool.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Do you denote all those details on
the website?
On the website.
All there.
Cool. So all those casks.
All there.
That's cool. I like that. And that's what, yeah.
We also talk about what is a Paharet cask.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything is on the website.
We like that. Good bit of provenance, good bit of insight. This is the thing. You don't get it.
No.
You just don't get it nowadays. There's never enough room on a label. Like, you could never get enough information on a label to tell you everything you want.
Yeah, well, the bottle would have to be a ridiculous size.
Do that? Yeah. Like just a
put it on.
Yeah. Well, on that, all of our whiskies are non-chill filtered and no caramel colouring, but we don't have that on the label. You can find that out through the QR code. You don't need that on a label.
And also, you'd expect that from a brand like this. I already know just by looking at it, right? And you can tell from the variance in colour across the board. You know?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Sorry, Georgie, sorry, I know you said you don't focus on age statements. Do you don't put any age statements on any labels?
No. You have on the side date distilled and date bottled.
Oh, okay.
You can figure out for yourself.
You don't put like a number, yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
You don't need it.
No, for sure. Listen, I kind of
sorry, I don't mean to be...
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
Just let your focus.
It's not our focus.
Yeah.
And also, when it comes to age, we're working with distilleries across climates, right? So one of our casks, I don't have it here, is from M&H.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a single malt, fully matured in a pomegranate wine cask and partially aged in their warehouse by the Dead Sea, where the temperature gets up to 50 degrees. Their angel share in their warehouse in Tel Aviv is 9%, and their angel share in their warehouse by the Dead Sea is 25%.
Jesus.
That whiskey's 4.5 years old, right?
There's none of it left.
Yeah.
Could you imagine leaving that
to
to 8 years? We would have ended up with a really astringent, like, raisin.
Yeah.
So we're working with distilleries that, are in totally different climates, whether because they're really hot, they're really humid, or maybe they have huge temperature fluctuations, which means that the whiskey is talking to the cask and sort of interacting with the cask in a different way to the temperate climate that they have in Scotland. And we're also working with newer distilleries who are making whiskey in a different way. They're making whiskey knowing that it's going to be brought out at a younger age. So the flavour decisions that they make during production reflect that. They ferment differently. They distill differently. Their cut points are different. Their wood policies are different because they're not going to be leaving it for 12 years. And they don't have to leave it for 12 years because of those decisions. Because that's if you're going to build a distillery in the estate, you need to make those decisions.
Definitely. No, absolutely.
So-
Out of interest, it's not cask strength, I'm assuming.
No, that one we brought down because we wanted it to be approachable.
Right. Okay. So that's what I was just about to
Yeah.
ask. What was the thought process behind bringing it down? Sorry, to 49. Is that a specific? It was just from a point of view of approachability, making it really quaffable, enjoyable.
And it tasted really good at that strength.
Yeah.
All of our whiskies we actually bring down, apart from this next one. This is a cask strength, but it's at 49.9, so very low. It's cask strength.
Natural under 50 is where we like to be.
But we typically bring our whiskies down in strength to a strength that just works and is the best representation of that flavour. With the M&H bottling that we got, I think we got that cask at 67% ABV.
Wow, yeah, nice and high.
But the flavour was incredible at 57% ABV.
Right, okay. And out of interest, are you making those decisions? Is Fab making those decisions? Or do you have to fight it out?
No, so should we, do you know what? Because
Please pour the next round.
I can talk so much.
Yeah. No, let's talk over the next round. Sorry, Georgie.
And then I'll tell you about
We love a good conversation, so absolutely. Wonderful stuff.
Who is responsible for the design, the branding? That's still down to you? Are you working with an agency or a bit of both?
Do you want me to get back to my mic to answer that?
You can answer that. It will pick it up somewhere. That's fine. Yeah. Do you want me to pour these out and you can?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You've got some.
I've got some. I'm all sorted.
So we originally worked with a design agency called Freytag Anderson, based up in Scotland, who are wonderful. They're the ones that came up with our branding, with the heart cut, with the cut label. So they were amazing and they were super collaborative. They got our vision. They got that we wanted to make an approachable independent bottler and one that was colourful and in total relationship with the distilleries that we were partnering with. And now we've been through a couple of designers in the time, including my sister-in-law and a friend of ours. And now we're working with a designer based in Bristol, and he does all of our label designs for us, and we basically go to him with a mood board of how we want it to come through, and he works his magic on them. So
I really like it, I gotta say.
Thanks.
As someone, as someone who is obviously, like new into it all, and I just think it's very like young and fresh and easy, but not in like a good way, in terms of you've just got what you need on there.
Yeah,
it's approachable. It's exactly what you want it to be. It's very approachable.
It's not too like in your face. No. It's like soft, and I really like the bottles.
I think that's the perfect word for it as well. It is soft. It doesn't lean into being like a feminine whiskey or a masculine whiskey. It doesn't feel like it's sold to one specific type of person.
It
feels like it's just about the brand and the whiskey. Like that's, it is, it's approachable. It feels like fresh, it does exactly what you've explained. Yeah.
Like with this one that we've got coming up, this is number 14. We'll get to it in a minute. This is from Starward in Melbourne, and we were really inspired by Melbourne's coffee scene because Melbourne does great coffee. So we were like, wouldn't it be cool if that was inspired by that? So that's where that artwork comes from.
Cool.
And then with their bottle design, they have quite a lot of like firework motifs on their bottles. And if you're ever there for New Year's, like it's amazing with the fireworks. So we're like, wouldn't that be cool with this other one if we kind of played into that as well?
Nice.
Or with the Nc'nean that's coming next, we were like, wouldn't it be amazing if it was like a beautiful scenic, when you see those images of blue mountains over one another in the different colours of the blues, and Scotland's so romantic in its landscapes, so beautiful. So we were like, wouldn't it be cool if we did that on the side? So
beautiful.
Every one has a purpose to it
and a personality. I think it's so clean, so approachable, and just it's very professionally done.
Thanks.
It looks great.
I'm going to tell you about this whiskey because we are in different territories here.
Yeah, this is
it's different.
This is chocolatey, it's mushroomy, it's it's got a funk to it for sure. Tell us, go on.
Yeah, so this is from East London Liquor Co. This is one of their London Ryes. They've trademarked the term London Rye actually. It's 45% malted barley, 55% rye.
Okay.
And I think Alex and the team at East London are just wonderful. They're super cool. They were always on our list, which is why this is the second cask that we brought out. And we went and sat down with him and Sam after work one day. They laid out a load of casks. And as we went through them, we were like, this is this is the one. So they're really proud about the fact they're from East London, and they've got loads of cool collabs. So this is a rye whiskey that's been fully matured in a Hackney Brewery chocolate stout cask. So the brewery took one of the distillery's rye casks, they matured their stout in it, and then they sent it back to the distillery to mature this in it. And I always think from East London's rye that it tastes like a chocolate digestive or a chocolate hobnob dipped in soil, because it's got like this like really earthy, chocolatey character, which probably plays into the mushroom note that you're getting. 100%. But this for me is... The reason I wanted to tell you about that is because you go into it, and if you're expecting like a very elegant sort of, you know, fruit forward Scotch, for instance, this is not that. This is chocolatey, and it's dark, juicy black cherries.
It's quite dense.
Yeah.
It's chewy.
It's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I find it quite strong on the nose. Like,
oh, right, okay.
When I smell it,
you get like alcohol prickle or?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really experienced it, so I don't really know if it is that, but I sort of like really, it kind of like holds in the top of my nose. And for me, that's a little bit intense for me, because I'm used to like the sort of, you know, more fruity, kind of easy breezy.
What strength are we
rather
at with
than
this, Georgie?
This is 49.9.
Okay, so about the same as the last, which is always so interesting, isn't it? You can try two things at the same strength, and one will taste
this to me like smells so much stronger than the other one, even though it's not really that different in terms of.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
I wanted to bring this one because I was like, this, I just think it's such a cool story of provenance. And I think it's really interesting and different and just super chocolatey.
It's also got this like heavy loaf cake. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of, I don't think it's banana. There's like a
serene. Is it serene, the malt loaf?
Yeah, like a bit.
Maybe I've not heard of that word before, but yeah, like it's like is it like a dense, almost like heavy? It's not like but you know those thick banana breads you get from a cafe sometimes.
Yeah, that's sort of like saurine.
It's like
it's because we never really had saurine as like a snack when we were younger.
Okay.
So I think that's why you're
that's
not
clocking.
But like a malted loaf, it's literally like a thicker, denser banana bread.
Like you could knock somebody out with it, sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean,
it's dense, it's thick, it's heavy,
which I think is amazing, like textural wise, and really unassuming, because you don't expect to get that from a whiskey.
It's quite short though. Given all of that big, bold, like especially on the nose, those rich flavors, it's not like I would have expected a longer finish, maybe, which is quite interesting, I think.
I get what you mean. I don't really think this one would be for me.
No?
No.
I quite like it. I think it's an oddity. This is a conversation starter. This is you know, let me try you out on this and see what
I'm
you
getting
think.
like a little bit bitter. Maybe it's because like dark chocolate.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's not really, like, that wouldn't really be my thing. But I did kind of expect it, I know what you mean, to like last a little bit longer. Yeah. But it didn't, which is interesting.
Interesting. It goes very well with a stout too. We like to pair whiskey and beer together a lot. I lived in Edinburgh for 10 years and I love drinking whiskey and beer side by side.
Yeah.
It was White Peak that released the beer with the whiskey that's matured in that beer.
Correct.
That's awesome. I think you jumped on that, didn't you?
Yeah. So wait, would you put this in a beer and drink it?
Drink it
or
side
like
by side.
Side by side.
You could.
We're going for like a little mixer situation here.
No, that would ruin. No. You want to have the two.
You could, but bye.
Have you? Oh no, of course you haven't. Celiac. This with a Harveston. Do you like Harveston? I love Harveston.
Yeah.
Rich.
Bang,
we actually
rich on rich. Exactly.
We recommend a beer pairing for each of our whiskies, actually, a normal ABV and then a low ABV beer to go alongside. So we call them a half and heart.
Okay, very good.
Half and heart.
Very good. Jack would like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'd love that. He'd be well into that. This is cool. Do you know how long it spent in the?
So this whiskey is just over 3 years old, actually.
Yeah. So probably 6 months to a year, maybe?
No, the whole time. Full maturation.
Oh, sorry, it's full maturation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the label, it will either say cask or cask and then finish. Gotcha. If it just says cask, it's full maturation. If it has finish, it's been finished a little bit. Yeah. Back on the strengths, because you asked me about this before, and I said it's best to have for us to have a whiskey in hand. The way it works usually is, let's say we get a whiskey and we love it and it's at 59%. We'll then bring it down we'll try it at 58, 56, 54, 52. And Fab and I will go through those and we'll be like, I think we really like it at 54, let's say. And then we'll bring it down again to 56, 55, 54, 53, 52 and try that again. And we might be like, I think I really like it at 55, maybe 54, I'm not too sure. And then we have a tasting panel. So we've got 3 people from the industry who are very close friends of ours, who are very highly regarded. And if we're in between casks or in between strengths, we might get together with them, or one's based in Edinburgh, so we'll send them samples and we'll say, what do you think? And that's how we land on the strength.
Cool.
And we're always looking for a strength where it tastes great as is, and it can still take water. And that's a really fine line, because if you add too much water to get it down to bottling strength, if you then want to add water afterwards, sometimes it can lose that superpower of why that cask was so great. And then we also do that with our tasting notes. So we send the whiskey out to our little tasting panel and meet up with them, and that's how we come up with our tasting notes, because we have on the side of the bottles 5 tasting notes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And how long would the process of you trying all those different like percentages, and then like how much time do you guys give yourself to reach, okay, we're gonna bottle it at this strength?
Sometimes, like we've got a cask coming up, we're actually not bringing it down in strength. We tried it and we were like, my God, that's spot on. Like, so sometimes it can be immediate.
Yeah.
But usually it's about 3 weeks.
Oh, that's so much quicker than I thought.
No, because we'll keep trying it and keep trying, because, well, it's just the 2 of us in the business, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
So, and they're literally there on the kitchen, on the side by the coffee machine. And so they're always like looking at you being like, try me again, make a decision.
So really hard job.
And when we're in between like samples, for instance, Fab and I will make a point of being like, right, got to meet up with so and so this week. Really need an opinion on that. I've got to send them samples, So it's about 3 weeks that we kind of go back and forth and keep trying them in different orders. We're currently in between 3 casks at the moment from a distillery. And so we keep trying them, but like mixing them around, and on different nights, we'll try them in different orders, and we're making notes. We're always doing it blind to figure out which is the right one.
Yeah. I was going to say, that sounds like, I mean, obviously Stevie's like, that sounds so hard, but like, it sounds like it would be quite a lot in terms of if you have like 3 different ones or whatever and you're trying them in different things.
Intensive.
That sounds quite exhausting, to be honest.
As well. You can start to probably get quite what's the word?
Palate fatigue.
Well, you've kind of got to do it and then you've got to be really focused on it. Yeah. And again, we'll do that again and again on different occasions. Yeah.
Different days, different times. Make sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also
with how old are you? More 20.
25.
25. You tried over 8 casks. Well, different samples, different casks.
It was 5 sister casks of Bamor to pick from. Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult if you've got 5-10 things all very similar. Picking one can be
and it is hard because
difficult.
Obviously there are differences, but sometimes when you taste that many, everything starts to taste the same.
Yeah.
So as you say, you have to make that decision of like, that's it, or come back to it the next day,
Exactly.
Call it a night maybe as well when everything starts tasting. They're like, this is great, this is great. I'm having a great time.
It's all delicious.
It's all really nice.
Fair enough. I like that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting one.
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
It was enjoyable.
Interesting.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It is. Stretches your palate, makes you think, good conversation. I like it.
We've just released one from Stork Club, actually. Have you come across Stork Club?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, German rye whiskey. And malted rye made up of light rye, caramel rye and chocolate rye. So it has the chocolate intensity of that, and also like Glenmorangie Signet, like it's got that chocolate intensity.
Cool.
And it's been matured in a German Napoleon oak cask, which is cool. So a cask that was made from a tree that was 250 years old from a forest that stood through Napoleonic Wars. And these trees have to be x-rayed before they're felled in case they have shrapnel in them, which is really cool. Yeah.
No whiskey.
Right. But it also has like a really like big chocolate intensity to it. It's really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Next whiskey.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Absolutely. It'd be rude not to.
So the next one that we've got is from Nc'nean.
I'll start with Georgie first.
No, hold on.
That was it.
Let me wash this out. Sorry, Georgie. Nc'nean.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about this one.
So when we were making the decision of what would be our first Scotch, we knew it had to be a distillery that we were like, yeah, that's really cool. And when we started telling people that we were partnering with Nc'nean, everyone was like, of course you are. You know, it was really nice how, you know, the people... Nice. Sorry to interrupt. No, you're fine. For the people that had gotten to know us, when we'd said about Nc'nean, they're like, yes, of course you're partnering with Nc'nean. That makes total sense, which is really nice.
I have to say, when I saw the one Scotch on the website was Nc'nean, I went, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I've never heard of Nc'nean.
Great.
Well, hold on, you're about to learn about it.
Founded again by another amazing woman called Annabelle. And it's situated up on the Morven Peninsula, which is on the southwest coast of Scotland.
Okay.
And it is Scotland's, I believe, first B Corp organic distillery.
Okay.
Annabelle doesn't come from a whiskey background. She loves whiskey, but she was a consultant by trade. And so coming into whiskey and building a distillery, and I think it was built in 2010 sometime. I can't remember the exact date.
I'll get you the exact date as you keep going.
But coming into whiskey at that date, she was like, well, why wouldn't I, coming from a background like that, she's asking the questions that people typically don't ask.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, why wouldn't I build a distillery today that works in conjunction with the land that we're on and works alongside nature, you know? So they only use organic barley, and the distillery is, B Corp certified, which is not easy. Okay. Especially to retain
so
that.
So super sustainable, for the planet.
Founded in 2017, in 2021, Nc'nean became a certified net zero emissions whiskey distillery, the first in the UK to achieve this, 20 years ahead of the Scotch industry target.
Wow. Yeah.
This is delicious.
It's really nice.
It's really good.
It's really nice.
Have you tried this, Jake?
I have. I've had a little sip. Yeah.
I find this really strong on the nose.
It is stronger. It's like, sorry, I should have said.
This is 72%.
This is 100%.
54% ABV.
Okay, that makes sense then.
What I love about Nc'nean is their core range, their organic single malt. It's super light, bright, like sprightly, citrusy lemon drizzle. And when we started speaking to Matt and Annabelle, they sent us a few cask samples and they were like, these are nice, but I'm not too sure, you know. And then I went to Montrose, a restaurant in Edinburgh, and they'd done a bottling for them that was finished in a Madeira cask. And I immediately pretty much texted Matt and I was like, this is what I want. This is so good. And he was like, yeah, great. Slight problem there. Don't have anything like that in our warehouse right now. So he ended up finishing a cask for us in a Madeira cask. So this is a Madeira cask finish. The reason I love it is it's like lemon drizzle and Christmas cake. On the tasty notes, we've put rum and raisin ice cream, dried raspberries. Just tasty. And it takes water very well too.
Yeah, this is I'm getting like really sweet, but not like crisp appley sweet, like actual
like dried fermented,
like sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like maybe the
overripened
kind of like the candied fruit that you were talking about a while ago.
Candied peels, like citrus peels.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
But it's also just got this like slight bitterness in there as well for me. Yeah, it's funny because I've obviously tried their sort of core stuff, and it is very light. It's very nice, and I was not expecting this, so that's why I was kind of like, whoa, this is there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It's quite fragrant. I can't put my finger. I'm sorry. I'm quiet. I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm getting off of this.
That's unlike you.
Yeah.
Quiet? Guys, you heard it here first. Jake is quiet. Wow.
I'm trying to put my finger on it. I can't.
I find it personally, off of the smell, I'd be like, ooh, I don't think I want to try this if I just smelt it because it's quite strong for me.
Okay.
But then actually tasting it, I'm like, oh, do you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe in like a cocktail or something for me. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that. For me, the alcohol is incredibly well integrated. And I actually think that the previous one, the East London, was, like you say, less balanced from an alcohol point of view. If you compare that this is, 4.1% stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
So I personally feel the alcohol is really well integrated, but it's interesting, obviously, you not being as
just
used to
off of
drinking
the smell,
higher
I'd be
strength
like,
stuff.
ooh, I'm not sure if
Too
I
much
like
for you.
this.
Yeah, that is quite interesting.
But I do. It's actually really nice and sweet.
The balance of flavours is all there. Those all work so well.
Thanks. The distillery did, honestly, such a great job with this one, and I was so lucky that we were able to bottle it for them. Yeah.
And is it the first Madeira cask they've ever done with
No,
this?
no.
Okay.
They've done Madeira casks before. As I said, that's how when I was up in Edinburgh, I tried one and I was like, from a Madeira cask finish. And I was just like, this is exceptional. But of course, every single time you do a finish, it's going to come out slightly differently.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this worked.
Have you tried True Fruit?
what?
It's a brand, True Fruit. They do freeze-dried fruits covered in chocolates and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
They
I thought you
do
were about alcohol.
raspberries, frozen raspberries
Yeah.
covered in white and milk chocolate.
Sounds nice.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. It's funny you said raspberries because, as I said, we did put dried raspberries and peach yogurt on the side.
Yogurt, definitely.
yogurt.
Peach, no. Yogurt, yes.
With the
100%.
tasting notes, is that between you and Fab as to what you both,
Us
set, and then
the tasting panels. So they'll send us a load of their notes, and then I'll go through and be like, "What are our hero 5?"
Right, okay.
That we're going to put on the front.
And when you say 5, sorry, can you read the 5 tasting notes that you've got here, just so I understand how you're writing them?
Tastes like rum and raisin ice cream, dried raspberries, peach yogurt, walnuts, and lemon balm.
So it's 5 things. It's not like a descriptor where you roll. Yeah, I like. I
literally
quite like
five,
that.
it's
actually.
5 different things on every single one.
Cool.
Quite like a not a eucalyptus, like a minty kind of herb at the end there.
Yeah, see, I was thinking, is it
like a Glenallachie sometimes at the end? That kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
For me.
I know. Yeah, I'm struggling to pinpoint some flavors in this. I was leaning towards like cedar there for a minute, and I'm not sure if that's it. I don't know.
There's a lot going on.
There is quite a bit going on, and like you say, the difficulty with it is it's so well balanced, so not one thing is standing out particularly. So I think it's like a very pleasant journey, but I'm struggling to go, this is exactly what it is. Do you know what I mean?
You're still on
It's
the
yummy,
journey.
though. It's yummy.
Let yourself sit there and be on the journey.
Is it
Take
a
minute.
whiskey?
Just sit back.
That's George's way of just saying, just shut the fuck up, okay?
I really like, though, I have to say, I really like the 5 different flavours because I think for me, the look of the bottles, I would already lean towards being like, oh, that looks kind of cool and fresh.
And to pick something up
and then
go,
I'd be like, oh, okay.
I like this, and this.
like I really like stewed plums, or I really like apple pie, or whatever it is.
It's a clean way of doing it.
So yeah, it makes it a lot more. It's quick, like quick
it's
purchase
clean,
though. It can make people think like,
100%.
oh, that's there.
100%.
I really like that. I'm gonna get that.
100%.
Thank you. And the more you try from us, the more you kind of can go, oh, maybe I actually don't like the sound of that one. I'm going to give that cask a miss, and I really do like the sound of that one,
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
because you start to learn how we're putting this together in a way. Yeah. When you go on the website, you have like a slightly longer description where we bring in more of the tasting notes that we've got from ourselves in the panel. But yeah, we keep it to like the hero 5 on the side.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, good. Would it be a whiskey that you'd have a second dram of?
For me, absolutely.
Yes, because I want to pinpoint these flavors.
Keep going.
I can sit down with the whole bloody bottle and try and figure this out. Like,
That's what Jake's going to be doing this evening, just sitting at the table, staring at it like, what is it?
like I'm studying for a test or something. Yeah.
I always think that's a really important question, and it's something that we ask ourselves. I don't know if you guys do as well, but I'm always like, this is really nice. This is really interesting, especially because our whiskies are so provenance driven. It's nice, it's interesting. Do I want a second dram?
It is a hard question though, because to answer, because there are some drams that are so tasty but can be really rich that I've enjoyed that more than I have done having a dram 3 times in a row, but twice or 3 times is going to be too much. Do you know what I mean? And I can see this maybe 2 get into the 3rd dram, I'll be like, okay, it's getting a bit rich now. But yeah, it definitely would be a bottle that I'd pick up a lot.
How long was the Madeira finish?
I think it was only like 6 months.
It's incredibly well integrated.
It's really good.
Really fucking good. I mean, honestly, it kind of pisses me off because
enjoying how much you're enjoying it.
It's just weird though, because when you said Madeira finish, I was like, where is that jumping out? And it's not jumping out. And for 6 months. And how old did you say the whiskey was all in?
I didn't.
You didn't. Where do we think, guys? Where do we think? I reckon this is...
Don't ask me.
I reckon this is 5, 6, 7.
I think it's up there.
I'm going to, just for the hell of it, I'm going to say 4.
It's 4.
Is it?
Okay. Hi,
4.5.
everyone. You
All
heard
right.
it here first.
But
Georgia,
again-
take the business. You're running with it from now
No
on.
problem. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, see, that's really interesting.
But imagine if we put 4 on there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, people would, I'm not drinking that. Yeah. Which is
But
so
we
stupid.
didn't,
because
and you
it's
try it and
delicious.
you're like, it's absolutely phenomenal. Again, goes back to this whole thing. And
You bamboozled them.
especially with Nc'nean. I don't know if you've had them on here, but like, they're incredible. Matt from Nc'nean, he's amazing. And they make actually 2 different recipes at the distillery, depending on whether they're going to age their whiskey for a short or a long period of time. So they're literally... You remember what I said earlier about new distilleries making whiskey differently? He's literally making whiskey differently, depending on... And all of these distilleries are doing that. So again, we put an age... An age statement is only relevant within a certain context, right? But when we see a number by itself, we don't fully look at that context.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I can get quite...
Yeah, you run.
Yeah, you run with it. You run with it. Go wild.
No, I agree with you. I like to know, and not from like a judgmental point of view, like, how old is it? Oh, I'm not drinking it, because, the more and more
You're just
experience,
curious.
especially new distilleries, lag.
Yeah.
I've had
Works as a young age, yeah.
Works,
should
I've
only
had-
be bottled as a young age. in my
lag has
opinion.
beaten some sort of 15, 20-year-old whiskies I've had, so it isn't everything. It's just another piece of information that I like.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, we've got it on the side.
you've
It
got
may
it.
not be 4, but it's cool. I can figure that out,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to try 2 whiskies side by side next.
Wicked.
All right.
And these are the whiskies that we released this week. 2 Australian single malts from Starward.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We've had a few bottles of Starward on before. We haven't had them on. We obviously had what is their name? Is it Ryan?
Yes, Ryan.
is
Ryan.
just incredible.
Yeah, we love Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been on once.
They've been on once. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again later this year. They're coming back.
Sorry,
from
is
Oz and
Ryan a
Lake Boston.
person?
Great.
Or-
Yes.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
And they're wonderful, and they're currently working for a year over in Melbourne to learn more about the Australian whiskey scene, working part-time at Whisky and Ailment. They looked after Morris while they were here in the UK before that, and loved Australian whiskey and just basically building up as much knowledge as possible in the category.
Like super passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And really nice.
Yeah, I was super friendly.
than
But
you.
like if you think Georgie's passionate or I'm passionate, you should meet Ryan. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's next level. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
It's infectious.
It is infectious.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. Yeah. And we had them on, like, look, you can look at any new world category and go, am I going to be interested? My God, did they get us like just turned on to the whole thing. It was like flavor upon flavor upon flavor. And okay, cool. If you didn't like this, you're going to love this. And it was just like,
Okay.
it went on, didn't it? That episode went on for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Georgie.
Yeah, so we've had Starward then, and also I think there's been another bottle here and there.
Potentially.
Been on. Yep, I think so.
Potentially.
Maybe even Hayek is actually your biggest fan, the Whiskey Amateur. He's raving about you on social.
Yeah.
So
He is your number one fan.
Yeah, they're really cool.
He's another passionate guy who is very, very proud of what you're doing. So you do tastings and stuff, Georgie? Is that something you're on the road? Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of whiskey club tastings.
Thanks, Georgie.
An awful lot of whiskey club tastings, ticketed tastings, barrel tops. I'm doing a sampling actually tonight to launch these 2 Starwards at Dram. So with every release that week that we release something, we do a drop-in tasting at Dram.
Cool.
And we do a come down, I've got open bottles, give them a try. And the Dram team are just wonderful. They're so supportive. So
Still haven't been to Dram, actually.
yeah. So you've got 2 whiskies. The one in your left-hand side is number 14. The one on your right-hand side is number 15.
Trying the blind again.
Yeah, try them blind.
Cool.
Oh, wow. You really did well with that.
Our resident.
Was that a thing, though? You know, did you guys think about that?
The popability. Yeah.
It's sensational.
It's really important.
You could just put me in the corner and I'll just...
Popping away.
God.
So, sister casks here? Or
Yeah, this
you
feels
said
kind of
14 and
intense
15,
having
is that
two.
the number of release for you, sorry? That's your number.
That's the way we number them. Yeah.
But not, they weren't cast 14 and 15, no?
No.
Okay.
So why is it that these two go together? What's the, like...
What? Are you happy for me to tell you about them now?
Yeah. Crack away.
So I first visited Starward in 2017 in Melbourne. I used to travel for 8 years of my life. I travelled 6 to 9 months of the year around the world. Yeah, I did a lot. And whenever I used to go to a city, it'd be like, cool, where's the nearest distillery? What can I check out? What can I learn? I love Starward. I think they've put Melbourne on the whiskey map. I think we can all, say that. And so they were always one of those that would be really cool to sort of work with list. What I love about Starward is that all of their ingredients come from within a day's drive of the distillery, and they use fresh red wine casks from the Barossa Valley. And it's really important, that word fresh, because when we think about red wine in Scotland, we think of dried red wine casks or red wine used in whiskey where that country does not have a wine culture. And so with the rise of whiskey around the world popping up in these new places that obviously make sense, well, of course they're going to use fresh wine casks, right? So the casks that the distillery used were literally, the wine was dumped out of them 24, 48 hours beforehand, and then they're filled with the whiskey. Right. So there's a lot of vibrancy and freshness and fullness and expressiveness to these casks. So number 14 is a single malt, as I said, fresh red wine. But the cask was made from American oak. And number 15, the cask was made from French oak. And what's really cool about these 2 whiskies is that you can not only taste the difference between the wood type, but also how the winemaker used those woods because it's fresh, right? Which again, you don't get through as much when you're using them dried. So for an American oak cask, obviously you're looking at more of those sort of like the vanillins at the fore. You've got bigger sort of grains that are coming in, but the winemaker would have used it for bigger reds beforehand. So for me, I think for 14, it's a lot jammier. It's a lot more fruit forward in style. For 15, which is French oak, the grain is a little bit tighter on the oak. There's a bit more spice in it. It's also a year older because of the French oak and that tightness of the grain in the oak. It takes longer for the whiskey to sort of like work with it. But when it does, it gets there. And the winemakers would have used it for a much lighter style of wine. So it's really cool. And we don't usually, whenever we look at a red wine cask, we'll be like, oh, cool, it's a Pinot Noir cask finish. It's great. But if it's from a country where they don't have a wine culture, there's just a lot more going on here.
They're also able to denote a lot more provenance, right?
Yeah.
This is the problem. If you're buying old world wine casks, even the types of, Bruichladdich with Mark Rainier's great connections, they can still only put MRC or, little hints towards what it is, as opposed to out and out, this is the chateau it came from.
Yeah.
Whereas out in Australia, at least my understanding, and certainly from what Ryan's told us, is in certain instances, there's much more clarity on the provenance of the cask. Because like you say, more often than not, it's over there. You know, that's the winery and this is the distillery. And
it's funny because you say a day's drive, which sounds like what? That's ages away. But in Australia,
it's not.
Yeah.
Really
that's close.
like, it's just down the
That's your neighbour. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
exactly.
just out of interest, with regards to obviously, you know, Australia, the temperature and the humidity is so different to that of Scotland, or to be honest, a lot of other places. So what difference does that make?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And actually, that's something that Starward prides itself on.
Okay.
They like to talk about their 2 secret ingredients, their use of fresh red wine casks and Melbourne's wild weather, where they can get 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah.
And because, it goes from super hot to super cold, and in quite a lot of those fluctuations through the year, the whiskey is integrating with the cask on a more extreme level. So the whiskey's going in, out of the wood.
Yeah.
So you're getting more of that relationship happening.
Okay.
So that temperate climate is then accelerating that conversation with the wood and the whiskey, as it were. These are both, one of them's 55, one of them's 54 as well, I should say.
They're both really enjoyable. I am struggling to find massive differences.
Yep.
But I find the second one, the 15, a lot richer for me. But and is that the highest strength one or the lowest strength?
Lower strength. So number 15 is 54% in 312 bottles. Number 14 is 55% in 383 bottles.
I much prefer is this the 14?
14.
I much prefer that. I actually really like the 14. I think it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
You need to stop saying
You don't
nice.
struggle with the alcohol side of it?
I struggle with the alcohol side of the 15.
Okay.
But it's lower, only by 1%.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's really interesting.
But
isn't it?
I find that one a little bit. I do see similarities between them, but I find the 14 a lot smoother. Whereas the other one, there's like a little bit of sort of stinginess at the end.
Yeah, there's a bit. There is a bit more of a spice to it.
And that wouldn't really be like my thing. So I actually really enjoy that one. I enjoy a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. Not because of anything that I know about it, but just,
one of ours,
I don't know.
The first kind of red wine cask.
Yeah, and I'm not a wine drinker.
Right.
So for me,
Interesting.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
not a
have
style
thought.
that you would lean into.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that I would have enjoyed them as much. Like I actually enjoy that one as much as I enjoyed the first one,
Yeah, nice.
That's awesome.
which is interesting.
Goes very well with a hot cross bun.
Oh,
Tried and tested.
I'm just going to pop out and go to the shop quickly.
Deliveroo.
I think Stevie just wet himself with it. He's like, hot cross buns.
But it would just drizzle a little bit over as well. You know.
Yeah, it was it goes so well with a hot cross bun. I have tried that one.
You're not speaking
What's
my
on
language at all. I hate hot
What's
cross
on
buns.
the side of this one?
Yeah, no, it's like chocolate croissants. I think they're horrible.
Oh,
They're both so
you're
strange.
wasted. You should
so
have my
strange.
allergy and I should be able to eat them.
Where we there was an episode where we were dunking donuts
You were Dunkin' Donuts with Liv, yeah.
in whiskey. Best experience ever.
And they were the Tantrum donuts that Liv brought in, and we're currently
from
speaking
Glasgow.
with Tantrum to see if we can get in there with them. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pleased
To do a donut, yeah. Georgia won't come to that. I don't think she'll get jealous. Well, you just get jealous if we're sat there with donuts,
I'm
dunking
genuinely
donuts into
someone that's
whiskey.
like, can I please smell your food? When it comes to the table, I'm just like, just let me smell it before you eat it. Just let me live vicariously through you.
God.
So these are brand new, hot off the press.
Yeah, out this week.
This week. I'm not sure when this episode will go out, but yeah.
What do you think? You both have been very quiet.
I'm not sure. I'm struggling with them a little bit, to be quite frankly honest with you, Georgie. I'm not trying to be negative.
No.
I love wine casks.
Yeah.
So I was expecting one thing. To be honest, I'm finding the alcohol, and it's really interesting what you said, and that's why I'm now trying to analyse and make sure that I've not got these mixed up. I found the alcohol on number 14
Stronger.
to be quite unbalanced, and that's where I'm struggling to get some of the flavours.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt that the 15, I'm getting a bit more out of. But to be honest, I don't know. I'm struggling with them a little bit.
You haven't mixed them up, have you?
No. I definitely haven't mixed them up, but I'm kind of questioning myself.
They're juicy red wine. They're bold. They're I think all of our whiskies are very expressive. They're not like a little toe through the door. They're like, I'm here.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really enjoying it. They are juicy. The more I keep sipping on both, the harder it is to start to distinguish differences. But I definitely think the 15 for me is just a bit more richer and punchier.
And sorry, exclusive maturation in the red wine.
Yeah.
Cool. And not that it matters again, but age-wise?
Let's have a look. So number 14 is, hold on, need to do some finger math here. 5 years old, and number 15 is 6 years old.
Is that what I was thinking? Yeah, cool. Interesting.
But again, with that climate,
Yeah.
very
the rate
different.
of interaction is
microwaved and
yeah.
Do you
different.
have a preference between the two of them?
Right now, I'm really enjoying the 14. That's kind of I had it last night, actually. I had the 15, last night once I put the kids to bed with a beer. And that was really nice. But I'm really enjoying the 14 at the moment.
What are your tasting notes for this, out of interest? I'd love to hear your tasting notes.
They're exactly what they are on the...
Yeah.
She's literally written them on the side.
No, that's what I'm saying. What are they, though? What have you put them down as?
Yeah.
Because I'm interested to hear.
Okay,
14?
so 14 is chocolate-covered raspberries, red currants, digestive biscuits, rich vanilla, and dried apple slices.
Okay.
And then
for 15?
cherry blossom, strawberry laces, sticky toffee pudding,
Strawberry laces.
creamy macadamia, and blackcurrant leaf.
When I saw them on it, I was like,
The cheap sweets.
Jake literally eats his weight in strawberry laces.
That is not true.
Like, it's just like, hump.
That's impressive.
That is slanderous.
What about Fab? Does he like the one that you're interested in right now, or is he
Yeah, I mean,
different?
to be honest with you, it changes day by day. And like, I really like them both. I mean, that's why we bought them
Yeah,
both,
of course.
right? I really like them both, but it very much changes on the mood and also, who we're with, who we're talking to.
And I guess also stuff like the weather as well. Because sometimes,
100%.
if it's really sunny out, which, it happens to be today.
And what beer do you pair with these?
So...
Or have you been pairing?
Yeah. With number 14, we paired it to, I think it was a pale ale from Good Chemistry in Bristol, a really cool brewery. And number 15, we paired to the Keller, I think it was an IPA or pale, I can't remember, pale ale from New Barns in Edinburgh. Again,
cool.
another really cool brewery. So, that's the ones that we paired these ones to.
Very cool, yeah.
Sorry, did you say pomegranate? No.
That was a while ago.
No, on the tasting
No,
notes.
no.
I'm not talking about the pomegranate.
Oh, right,
milk
sorry.
and honey thing.
Yeah, no.
I get
Pomegranate's not on either.
What did you say? Did you
On
say
this
you said
one.
cranberry?
No.
No, I didn't. I said red currants.
Red currant. No, okay, yeah.
Same
Pomegranate.
I feel like you're still a little bit stuck.
I'm
You
just,
okay
yeah,
over
I
there?
am. I'm genuinely
Do you
trying
want a
to pick some stuff out of here a little bit better. I'm not doing very well.
Pomegranates is and even the cranberry is a good chat. Actually, that slight kind of like bittersweet.
Correct. For 15? Or for
Yeah, the
14?
second one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15. Yes. So for 15, that's what I'm getting a bit more of. That pomegranate, little bit of cranberry. Strawberry laces, 100%. I'm on board with you with that. I'm not getting the other things that you've mentioned.
That's fair enough.
It's interesting. Sorry, where are we at? What do we think, guys? Are we
I'm enjoying
favouring
these,
one
actually.
over the other?
I'm favouring this one.
The first one.
Yes.
Cool. Stevie?
Right now, the 15.
I'm with you. I'm with the 15.
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
Speaks
Am I
to
the
me
only
as
one that's for 14?
No,
Yeah,
right
good.
now at this moment in time. But
Good.
Looks like it's
That's
the
the
girls
joy of
versus
it.
the
Everyone's
boys.
different. There's no right or
Yeah.
wrong, kiddo.
No, it's very
Yeah,
cool.
interesting.
They're
That's-
doing interesting stuff. You don't see too much of it, and unfortunately, I think the stuff we do get is normally kind of just the kind of cool range stuff.
Which again, why you shop with an independent bottler, right? Get
Exactly.
something a little bit
Coming onto-
different, get the passion, get the
So have you tasted anything like either of these otherwise?
from Starward.
No, as in just in general. Like, is there any other
there's
whiskey that you've tried that you'd be like,
definitely notes there.
oh, okay, yeah, I
Not
do
exactly
see
the
some.
same,
No,
but
okay.
definitely notes there. That kind of jam and the the kind of red fruits and things like that. Yeah, definitely. Red wine is obviously one of our favourite styles of whiskey.
It can be quite divisive. A lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
why?
Tannins can become overpowering. I think it's like anything, preference of style, right? For me, I would say, people who don't like it, generally what it would come down to would be the strength of the tannins overpowering. Whereas if you have a sherry, it can become, like we talk about it being juicy, but sherry can be juicy in a whole different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would say. What would you say is the people?
It's really interesting because I'm not a big fan of overly sherried whiskies.
Right. Okay.
I really
but you
don't like them.
Wine. You like heavy wine
I like
influence.
wine cask finish,
That's
and I
interesting.
like a sherry cask where it's not overtly sherried. But
Right.
I'm not into big sherry cask whiskies. I
Okay.
don't like them.
Yeah,
And I'll keep trying them and keep trying different ones, but that's not my style.
for sure.
Yeah, I'd prefer a much, if you had to choose between sherry and bourbon, I'd go for a juicy bourbon
Right.
over a sherry. But obviously with our JJ Corry, that was all sherry and fortified wine, but it's very different. That's not like a big sherry bomb that's lots of, I think so he was on the tasting panel back in the day for the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. And I think I just tried too many like overly sherry casks.
You can get fatigue from the sherry bombs.
And I think since then I'm just like, it's just not, do you know what? I think whiskey is there to be sipped and savoured and enjoyed. And if I've poured something into my glass and I'm like, not really into that, then I'm just not going to drink it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think as well, there's too many people out there, and
It
a
just
lot
really
of
reminds
these.
me of Anton Ego.
What are you saying there,
He's
kid?
like, if I don't like my food, I don't swallow. Just really remind me of Ratatouille, Anton Ego.
Oh, right,
Sorry.
okay.
Bit of a niche reference there.
Very niche reference. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
I was
feel
going to say, I
isolated.
think a lot of I was going to say independent bottlers. It's not really. It's a lot of these cask brokers that you referenced at the beginning here will often put everything in sherry. And there's no thought process as to, well, this is actually a very light whiskey. Should it go in sherry? Does it suit that style? It's no. Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez are the height of the market. They're most in demand and they're easy to sell. We'll shove it in that. We'll bang a load of color and a load of flavor into it. Whether that flavor suits the whiskey is neither here nor there to me, because it'll then be easier to sell the cask. And sometimes Pedro Jimenez is wonderful, and sometimes Oloroso is wonderful. Sometimes a different sherry is required, though, and sometimes a sherry isn't fucking required at all. You should stick to bourbon or do a wine or something entirely different. Yeah. And I think this is it. People don't think about the style that the whiskey is requiring. They think about, oh, well, I like sherry whiskey, so I'll just bang it in sherry, I
think there's different styles to sherry too. Can I talk about something we've got coming up?
You can absolutely talk about
Go
whatever you
wild.
want.
So our next release that we have is finished in a sherry cask.
Okay.
It's from
okay, go. Sorry.
It's from Filden.
Okay.
And it's a rye whiskey from them, 100% rye. And it was all made on the original Oxford site.
Cool.
In that really cool steam train still that they had. And the whiskey was finished for 2.5 years in a 45-year-old ex-Solera Oloroso sherry cask.
One of the only ones left in existence.
From a bodega in San Luca de Barrameda. So it's a coastal Oloroso.
Very cool.
And it's not like a sherry bomb, like those really rich notes. It's more like salted caramel and banana flambe. And it's got this like mineral, salty, typical sherry. Like it tastes like a boozy Oloroso. It's phenomenal.
When is that coming out?
Can you take my bank details now?
It's coming out in May.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
And I love sherry. I've been to Jerez like 4 times. I had my Hindu there actually. I love sherry. So there's nothing I have against sherry. It's just the balance of sherry, which I think is really important. But this Filden cask is...
You say it's coming out in May? We'll make sure that this goes out before or around the time. So guys, if you're watching this now, that should have just come out. Georgie, sorry, the website is?
theheartcut.com.
.com, theheartcut.com. Check it out now. Not only are there all of these wonderful whiskies, but the latest drop is probably there now. Go and check it out.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. Okay. But again, like you say, that's not your typical sherry. Even from the provenance of the cask, that is a 1 in a million cask nowadays, right? You can't buy that for love nor money.
So sorry, how exactly did you get this if this is so rare? I want your secrets.
So
Share.
this cask, we were speaking with the guys at Filden for a while, and they told us about the legendary cask 292. And we were speaking to them about, like, you know, let's do something. We hadn't even started looking at cask samples. And Fab went to a whiskey show where the guys at Filden were, and they knew that we were speaking. One of the guys was like, ask for a sample of cask 292. And then, like, we spoke to someone else, and they were like, ask for a sample of cask 292. And we were meeting up with one of the guys that week for brunch, and we emailed him being like, look, we've heard about this cask. Any chance we can get a sample? He was like, yeah, but just to let you know, it's a big cask, it's 600 litres. And we were like, no, it's fine. Still want to try. We're like, no, it's really big. That's like 1,000 bottles. He bought it, and we tried it. We literally just poured it into a glass as soon as he sat down at brunch, and we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're like, yeah, we're going to take it.
We're taking it.
We're going to take it. And we went to Dram actually afterwards for a meeting, and we poured the guys there a sample of it, and they were like, what is this? This is like incredible. And that never happens. Like, it's so rare. That and the Nc'nean, when Matt was like, I've got the cask for you. It never happens. The whole like, it's one cask.
Blimey.
Yeah, so we got really lucky with it.
Did you get to keep the cask?
No, we don't keep the casks.
You don't know.
I mean, I live in a house in London
Well, I mean,
with a back garden the size of
If
this
you
room.
wanted to refill them.
Yeah.
No, because we don't refill.
No.
No.
You wouldn't buy new make from a distillery?
No.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah. Should we move on to the last whiskey?
Yes, what is it?
It's a shame
All
we're
right.
already there, but let's do it.
What is it?
What is it? Then I'll decide if I can do it or not.
Yeah, that did
No, I'm just
sound very-
excited because I've just been enjoying myself so far. So, it's White Peak. I am excited. Yes,
Okay.
I will have it. Joking.
Thank you.
So this is the cask strength one, I'm assuming.
No.
Oh, sorry, you said there was one of the releases thus far, not one of the releases today is cask strength.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, I misunderstood that. Apologies.
East London was cask strength, and the Filden is cask strength that's coming out.
Sorry, how strong was he? Oh, is it 49.9? Apologies, you did say
Yeah.
that. Sorry, Georgie. Yes.
Yeah, so this one isn't cask strength. I need to check the bottle, but I think this one's at 55% ABV.
Cool.
So, like you, I love what Claire and Max and the team are doing up at White Peak. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, they're a great team.
I love how they're... Thank you for pouring. I love how they're leaning into Derbyshire and Derbyshire's brewing heritage. I love that they're using fresh, wet yeast as well. Like, that's really cool, right? And their cask policy as well is really interesting, that they've got really close relationships with bodegas, winemakers, like all over. It's like family to family, right?
Yep.
We did a virtual tasting with Max actually afterwards, because we sent out some of his core releases to people who'd bought the bottle from us. And he talked about that they have like 8 different types of STR casks in their warehouse, which I thought was amazing because, excuse my ignorance, but I was like, yeah, an STR is an STR. You never think about like the variances in them. And for a fact that a distillery of their size to have 8 different types is just so really cool. I also love that it's lightly peated as well, not overly so. I think their peating ratio is like 6:1. 1 part peated barley and 6 parts not. And I think that ends up at like 10 parts per million or something. So quite low.
Yeah, they're playing around a lot there. Like experimenting a lot with different cast types. And was it
Not even just cask types, but where it's located in the warehouse,
exactly
how it's all affecting it. They're really switched on to what
exactly
they're
what I was
doing.
going to,
They're
and
very
they're
cool.
logging everything.
Yeah,
as well.
they really are. Yeah.
Whether it's sort of
Ultra
6 foot higher
geekery. It's
than-
taking it all to the next level.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
what we
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
Isn't that exciting though?
Oh, so
and
cool.
like,
So cool.
and that's the distilleries we partner with.
Yeah.
Like, it's that around the world. So we were actually in Mexico in January buying a cask out there, which was really cool as well.
Oh,
So,
sweet. Very cool.
yeah, so lots coming. But this has been fully matured in a tawny port cask.
Cool.
And the reason I love it and the reason it made the cut is because it's sweet and smoky. It's like a barbecue dram, like frazzles and burnt ends and...
It is a summer barbecue dram.
And like barbecued strawberries and smoked blackberries and fruits of the forest, but with a smoky edge to them.
Yummy.
It's a bit too barbecuey for me.
You don't like the peat.
But I think my issue is that I like barbecued food, but I don't like barbecued taste. So same way, like, for instance, I love the fruit of cherries, but I hate cherry flavoured things.
Yeah, I was saying that's, yeah.
That's the only thing that I can reference it to.
I know what you mean.
So, but I know that you said it's only very lightly peated, but like anything that I've tried that is peated, I'm very much like, ooh.
I mean, you had a Port Charlotte last week at Welcome to Whisky.
Yeah, that was like a barbecue in my mouth for 5 minutes straight.
You didn't talk around that one, mate. You just went, yeah, good luck.
He just saw me going for it and was like, you know what?
idiot.
Go for it. I want to watch you crumble.
Sorry, kid. That's
because
not
you said
I
I smelt the bottle over the weekend before and I love the smell and I was like, oh, we'll try it then.
Yeah. Stevie threw me under the bus.
Oh, it's lovely.
I genuinely was
this?
like, oh my God, it's like there's barbecue in my
That's
mouth.
This is toned down.
Oh, 100%. This is toned down so much. It's just out of the bottles here today.
But again, kid, you need to explore peat and start getting used to it. I mean, it wasn't until
You will.
Get used to it.
No, but from a point of view of
Do
like,
it.
I was in whiskey for 2 or 3 years before I really started actually. I tried so many Ardbegs
mountains
early
ahead of
on,
you,
and
honestly.
Ardbegs that you and I would probably cut our right arm off for nowadays.
Yeah. Well,
And I was like, oh, no. You know, not for me. And, you know, this is the thing, your palate will develop. So, yeah, I think peated whiskies, I'm not surprised that it's not for you at this stage in your journey.
But it's not
Do
that
you know
it's
what I
not
mean?
for me, like, oh my God, it's not for me. It's just out of the ones that we've tried. It's like, this one wouldn't be the one that I would pick.
We'll go to,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it is actually it's not, I mean, the Port Charlotte that I had, I mean, it was still like,
Yeah, Port Charlotte's a different level, kid. Yeah.
flipping, you know, like ribs and burgers roasting in my mouth, which I did not enjoy.
Was it one of those where it's carried on growing and you're just like,
Yeah,
stop.
honestly, it just kept going.
It's like
And
chili.
Stevie was behind
I was
the
just about to say,
camera.
it's like Hot Ones with that guy, Dawn, and she's just crying, man.
Stevie was behind the camera with some
Laughing.
fucking
With a
smile,
big
like,
smile,
yeah.
Like,
Tried
I
that
knew
one,
what was
didn't
coming.
you?
George is like, can I get some milk over here?
I saw a little reel on Instagram of a kid that ate a piece of wasabi.
Oh my
and
gosh,
After a minute, the kid goes, help.
Steam coming out of their ears, like, right. So funny. What's interesting about this is the tawny port, again, the cask type for me is very... It's actually very mellow. It's not a first fill tawny port.
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay, cool.
I don't know. We'll
It's,
probably have that
You
somewhere.
said you're not getting much port influence?
No, it's not a dominating flavour for me.
Okay.
The peat is definitely
Again,
present.
it's balanced. I do get more port than smoke, let's say.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I get the smoke on that, like, especially to taste.
Yeah.
I get the smoke at the end. I get the juicy
Correct.
fruit to start and then the smoke.
But the juicy fruit for me is quite subtle. Whereas the peat at the end is kind of like it's a nice growing outro, you know, it kind of builds up to a point and it leaves you there.
Yeah.
Juicy for me, but
Yeah, that's really interesting.
it's also mentioning Ardbeg. It is that kind of Ardbeg, that peat, that smoke. You know, it's not kind of like medicinal, smoked fruit. It's good, but no juiciness for you, eh?
Yeah, but it's just really subtle.
Okay.
It's like a nice, nice, what a shit
No, you
word.
can say
Sorry.
that.
No, that's
No, we don't like that
I
word.
take that
We
back.
don't like
Yeah,
that
I know,
word.
right? Exactly. No, it's
We're
just,
not associated with that word.
it's, I have the structure of the tannins from the cask assisting with the mouthfeel, definitely. And I have elements of definite, like this, it's fruity. Yeah. Is it juicy? I don't know if I'd say it's juicy. I'd say it's fruity. It's fruity for me.
It's your palate, mate.
Yeah, no, look, this is it. I don't know. It's interesting. It's
Can you
I
guess
like
any
it.
of the tastes like? Sorry.
Oh,
What would be your? What are two that you get?
Well, I think we're all agreeing on this barbecue note, right? So barbecue summer. So,
Tastes like
pimps and barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're wrong, but yeah. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
what I'd say,
I know,
right?
not wrong. That would be your thing. Like Pims.
Yeah, Pims and barbecue. And this
That
is
does
it.
kind of
For
make
me,
sense.
it's not juicy fruit. It's kind of like a boozy fruit. It's like the booze takes over. It's not like an umbongo juiciness. Or
No,
do you know what I mean?
no.
It's not
Yeah.
like a super fruity. It's like the fruit is there with the tannin
stewed.
Heat
texture.
there, isn't it? It's just
Stewed for me, no.
Interesting.
But again, I can see that. I get it. But that's not what I would have chosen as a descriptor.
I'm really loving the taste like raspberry seedless jam. I just love description when it's like specific.
the raspberry seedless jam.
Bon Maman.
Yeah,
no,
is what we-
Bon Maman
No.
is seeded.
Oh
You're
yeah.
talking about Hartley's.
Tiptree.
Tiptree. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
there's loads
the
of brands.
raspberry
Yeah.
seedless jam. Yeah.
And what's with the artwork on this one? Where did you get that?
So the artwork for this one, because it was matured in a tawny podcast, we wanted it to be red. And
Okay.
we wanted to start adding texture into our bottles. So our first couple of bottles that we did were all just one colour. And then we started moving into sort of like texture. So for number 7 that I don't have here, that is juicy. It's a single cask bottled in bond American single malt from Westwood.
Cool.
And it tastes like juicy passion fruit. It's wild. And with that one, we were walking around Mexico at the time when we were trying to do the label design and like the briefing for it. And we kept seeing in Oaxaca all of these beautiful, bright blue houses with like that lime washy look to them. So the label is bright blue lime wash effect because we were there at the time. And then, so we've slowly started moving. So it was like color with texture, which is where 10 and 11 was also like this green with like purple wisps. And then we just started going into images. So, I mean, we're a new brand, right? We're still
Have some fun.
We're having fun, but we're growing and
Figure it out,
developing, and everything is, each bottle is an evolution.
And to be honest, the fact that you stick to the same thing anyway in terms of it's halved, there's obviously the design, means that you actually are quite free to have as much fun as you want with the other side because...
Yeah, the consistency is there from the
exactly.
out.
You know that it's the
grow
brand.
within that, but you've got your kind of borderlines of
I think that's
what
quite
the
fun.
brand look is. Yeah, definitely.
And each side, there is a story behind each one, even if it's us walking around Oaxaca liking that.
It's a story.
That is of the place, right? The design is very much of your journey with it. I think that's great.
So
I love it. This is cool. This is a good one. Very good finish. Strong finish.
Is that, would you say, one of your favourites from today?
Well, you have to wait for the finish up, the
sorry.
roundup. Just don't be fucking trying to get out of me before we're there, all right? Jesus.
Hey, I see.
I want everyone at home to be staying tuned to the very end.
Rigid structure.
Are we ready for a roundup, guys, actually, on that note? Is there anything else that we wanted to... Georgie, is there anything else you wanted to highlight or that you wanted to discuss?
I think I've...
Oh, we love it. Oh, you can ramble on all afternoon. We're intrigued. We're listening.
No, I think
we can do a part 2.
Yeah.
In 6 months.
Yeah, bring Fab in for a part 2 at some point when relevant.
And the girls, maybe not. They do like playing with corks. They do.
Yeah,
like
we
playing
can sit
with
in the corner
corks.
with the bottle tops. I'll sit in the corner with the little one. No problem.
Right, okay.
No, I think I've covered. I mean, thank you for letting me talk about.
No, thank you for coming and sharing.
Dream whiskey company. Yeah.
I think it's amazing what you've achieved, and a massive congratulations to
very
yourself
impressive.
and Fab. You know,
Thanks.
it's wonderful to see young people getting involved, putting their own stamp on the whiskey industry. It's what it needs. You know, I love it. I love what you're doing.
Everything you stand for is very admirable as well.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
thanks.
I like the way you're doing things. It's good for the industry, which is very important at this time.
Yeah. Well, and the important thing is the taste as well. So
let's get on to the taste. Let's do a little roundup then. So, Georgie, we started off with an absolute banger, to be quite frankly honest. That Irish is delicious. So, JJ Corry, these are all 50 centilitre bottles.
Yep.
Can we have a price on the JJ Corry, please? Sorry, I forgot to tell you this at the beginning. We need prices on everything. I'll tell you what, Stevie will do it on your website. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Save you the hassle. As always, we're going to do a little buy, don't buy, oosh if we love it, or bin it if we hate it. I think you're safe on the bin it side of things.
Okay,
so
great.
No cause for alarm there at all. But we started off with the JJ Corry. This was bottled at, did you say 48%?
48%.
Cool.
And it was the 4 different casks, all different sherry and fortified wine casks.
Number 11, yeah?
Yeah, number 11.
£68.
So £68 for the 50 centilitre bottle.
What are the options again?
Buy if you like it. Don't buy if you don't like it. Oosh if you think it's absolutely outstanding. And bin it if you hate it.
Does the oosh go in with buying it though?
No. Buy it if you like it. Oosh is like a top tier dram.
Okay, I would buy it, but obviously as someone who is like, you know, still beginner level, for me, I don't know if I would spend that much on it, only because I'm still very new. So you buy it, but you're not going to be going over the... Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's expensive for what it is, but you like it enough, you'd spend the money.
Yeah,
cool.
I do enjoy it a lot. It's got a lovely taste.
Stevie?
It's a buy, yeah. It's great. It's a very, and I mean this in a nice way, it's a very easygoing whiskey.
And it's supposed to be.
Right, okay, yeah. It's, you know, you could just sip of that all day. You don't have to think about it. I'd probably put that in with some ginger ale or an old fashioned. I think it would, you know, it's so diverse. So, yeah, it's great. It's nice to have some Irish whiskey. We don't
have enough of it.
Enough of it, you know.
Dib, absolutely. So a buy. I think it's really interesting what you've both said there about it being like something you don't have to think about. And I agree with it. You don't have to think about it. I loved analysing that. For me, that's the whiskey of the day. That is a massive oosh. Wow. Absolutely spectacular.
It actually was a really loud one as well.
You've got to give it some for the people at home. You've got to give it some. I felt that this is absolutely the sort of thing you could put into a mixer and not spend too much time analysing or thinking about, and it's going to be delicious. I think that in a way is underselling this though, because this is a very intricate dram. It's exceptionally well balanced. The fact that you have blended 4 cask types into this, kudos to you. I mean,
think you could bring it out for a lot of people in terms of like friends and family.
This is, you are going to struggle to find somebody who doesn't not like this.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's exceptional. Yeah. It's the sort of thing you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about.
Yeah.
If you sit with that for a while, I think that is a top tier whiskey. That's phenomenal. For me, best whiskey of the day.
Ooh, starting off
So it's a good start. It's a good start, Georgie. We move then on to the East London.
Yes.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about this dram from our point of view, and then
this
Steve's going to give us the price.
The London rye whiskey from East London, fully matured in a Hackney Brewery chocolate stout cask that is chocolatey and umami and black cherries and a rye as well.
Cool. Stevie.
£62.50.
£62.50.
Without the tube.
Oh, I should say as well, sorry, it's one of 344 bottles.
Cool.
We put the bottle number on all of our whiskies.
I like that. Yeah. Limited edition.
Said that.
What do you mean without the tube? What is
it says here,
you get a gift tube.
Without tube.
Oh, right. Okay.
So if you want a gift tube, you pay £2 extra because often if
not everyone needs it.
Not everyone needs it, and it's an environmental thing as well.
I like the option
I just
as well. I agree.
throw it away sometimes.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
So £62.50, Stevie, yeah?
Indeed.
Kiddo.
I personally wouldn't buy it just because it's not my flavour profile.
Not for you?
Yeah.
It's a don't buy from Georgia. Stevie?
It's another buy.
Yeah.
Loads of layers in there.
Yeah.
I like that. I was, I say quite surprised. Listen, we talk about the Scotch thing and everything. East London Liquor Company isn't something I would seek out. Now I've had it and it was delicious.
You'll have a look.
Of course.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's the whole point.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
another tick for Georgie. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Georgie
The domino
doing their
effect
job.
has started with
It has
Stevie.
indeed, yep.
Fantastic. Yeah, for me, it was a point of intrigue. It was something that you could discuss. Is it my favourite whiskey ever or something I want to drink every day? No, but I think it's interesting. It's different. And for that reason, it's a buy. Yeah, I think it's
cool.
It's reasonably priced and it's interesting.
Yeah.
We moved on to the Nc'nean.
Yeah, so from Nc'nean, single malt, finished in a Madeira cask.
Yes.
54% ABV and 391 bottles.
Lovely stuff. Stevie?
£63.
£63 for the Nc'nean. Kiddo.
I think I might have to do a new category because I like
You're
it.
not allowed to do that.
Okay, well, I actually remember on a previous one that Jack was just flailing about with his categories. He could do whatever he wanted.
You are now a regular.
Okay,
You can
I
forget.
see.
You've got 4 categories. Pick one of them, woman.
I'm not sure because I liked it, but I don't think I liked it enough. Like, I think I know exactly which ones I would want to buy.
Is it between buy and oosh or between buy and don't buy?
I think it's between buy and don't buy.
So it's a borderline buy.
It's a borderline buy.
Yeah.
It'll either just sneak over or it just misses out. So which one is it?
Would you order a dram?
You either have to just buy it or you have to just not buy it. You have to pick. You have to pick.
Buying a full bottle, if you went to a bar and saw that, would you order a dram of it?
I would get it as a cocktail. Probably not as a dram.
You're being difficult, but
You are being difficult. Is it a buy or is it a don't
do you know
buy?
what?
Pick one.
I don't care.
Pick one now.
Because I know exactly what ones I'm going to buy. I'm going to say I'm not going to buy it.
Okay, cool, fine. It's just a don't buy.
I just want to say that was quite pressured.
That was very intense. God, sorry everybody at home. Christ. There we go. Stevie, 63 you said.
£63.
Go.
It's an oosh.
Yeah, I knew you liked this one. Yeah, you really liked this one.
Good, Georgie. Well done.
Thanks.
This was awesome. This really surprised me today out of everything. It's delicious. I'd buy a couple of those bottles. So yeah, it's so good.
Give it something. Oosh! Oosh! There we go. Love it. Fantastic. Yeah, for me, this is a buy. And kind of what you said about the last one. You know what, Georgie? Hands up, I haven't explored Nc'nean enough. And I know that, and it's been on my radar for a while. I've known that they're there. I've known what they're about. If anyone from Nc'nean is listening, they're definitely not. But we'd love to come along and do some content with you guys. Yeah, I thought that was delicious. It was well balanced, and it's a buy.
Yeah,
definitely.
great.
It's a really good whiskey, I felt.
Yeah, really well done. It's so good.
You are right about this one.
Okay. What happened
Stevie
to the
and
whole,
Georgia are having a fight after
there's
this.
no right or wrong. And now suddenly it's
except
like,
for when you're wrong.
Shut up. Okay,
Except for when I'm
Whatever.
right.
I'm feeling a very peer-pressured situation.
Well, that's fine.
whatever.
All right, so we've moved on to the dual wielding of the Aussie whiskies, number 14 and 15.
Yeah.
Georgie, while
Both.
Stevie gets the prices here, crack away and tell us about these again.
Both of them are Australian single malts from Starward, both matured in fresh red wine barriques from the Barossa Valley. Number 14 is American oak. Number 15 is French oak. Number 14 is 383 bottles, and it's at 55% ABV, I believe. Yes, and number 15 is 312 bottles, and it's at 54% ABV.
Fantastic. So let's start with number 14.
£69.
£69.
Yep.
Number 14. Georgia, coming to you.
I would buy it. I really enjoyed the 14.
Straight off the bat. Not even
To be honest,
anything.
I feel a little bit scared right now if I don't answer straight away.
Cool.
I really liked 14. It was a definitely yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely,
Nice.
yeah, bye.
Cool. Definite for Georgia. Stevie?
14, I would give a miss.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. If I hadn't tasted the 15, then probably. But because you gave me side by side, I won't spoil it for the next round. But
You're
yeah.
wrong. Just
You already have, but yeah, fair enough.
You're wrong.
Yeah, the 15 was more my jam, no pun intended.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Stevie. The 14 is the one that I would probably give a miss to. If I'm put two very similar whiskies in front of me, I'm probably not going to buy both of them. I prefer the 15. So I'll give the 14 a don't buy. Good, interesting. I want to go back to it from a point of view of getting more flavour. I felt like I struggled to pinpoint some flavours in 14 and 15. So interested to try again.
It's interesting you say that, because I think with all of these whiskies here today, you could sit quite comfortably for a whole evening and just keep...
Analyse.
You know, and I would love to leave some of these for like an hour or two.
Yeah,
just to
see how they
the
open.
air,
Yeah.
because I'm sure they would just develop more and more and more.
Yeah.
I think also within that, how much fresh red wine cask matured whiskey have you had?
Well, like fresh.
Fresh
Like,
red wine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not a day's drive fresh, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I've had, you know, if you're sort of classing just as fresh as, you know, it is.
You've had some of our stuff because we've had
What
our
are you
stuff shipped
saying
wet.
right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we ship our stuff
That
wet.
was a
Nice.
proper ramble.
But you're right. It's
Okay,
not
thanks.
something that you're going to be able to try.
It's not something that you try a lot, and
It's
there's
not
a
super accessible.
different. Yeah, it's a different flavour, especially when you pick up the cask literally within a day's drive.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's
think,
what I mean,
and so
yeah.
that's why it's a different flavour calibration. So on your point of like sitting and trying it,
Yeah.
it's just different.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. But I agree, Stevie. I think that applies to all of these. I think actually it's really wonderful. And again, I feel like with the Irish, it's easy. You don't have to think about, you don't have to think about any of these
but
too
you
much
could.
if you don't want to. But I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you
yeah.
can analyze all of these. And like you say, you could sit with any one of these for an evening and have really good analytical conversations with like-minded geeks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we all love anyway, isn't it? So
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was 14, and then 15. Sorry, Stevie, was that
I think it's a little bit less. It's £65.
£65
Yeah.
for 15, kiddo?
Yeah.
I preferred the 14, so I wouldn't buy it. Really enjoyed it, but I prefer the 14.
Similar styles.
And seeing as
pick
they're
the
so
one.
similar, yeah, I would
Cool.
pick the 14.
All right, so don't buy from Georgia, but Stevie?
This is a buy, obviously.
Yeah.
There's for me, there's a lot more depth in there, a lot more juice. I just preferred it a lot more. So yeah.
Yeah, same. I agree with you on all points there, and definitely, 15 is a buy.
Nice.
And finally, we came to White Peak. And Georgie, tell us about that again.
Lightly peated from White Peak, makers of Wireworks, fully matured in a tawny port cask, and 527 bottles, bottled at 55% ABV.
Is it number 10? You've only got
Yes.
one,
Oh, you've got to get price,
yeah.
actually.
£59.
Interesting. It would be a not buy for me just because flavour profile wouldn't be my style.
Too much peat for now.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can try some of mine.
You know what? I'm going to give this another oosh.
Ooh.
Give it some.
Go on, then.
Go on. There we go.
Commit.
Another just like layers and layers that smoke, the kind of dark fruits there and all of that going on. It's really good. I could sit with that and just keep
Topping up the glass.
topping up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
You need to get a cask so you can keep topping up your bottle, mate.
Yeah,
That's what you need. You really do.
Tap.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic, and I think as well for 50, under that £60 mark,
Yeah.
really accessible.
Good. Thank you.
Agreed. Yeah. Super strong buy.
Wait, is it an oosh from you?
It's not an oosh. It's a super strong buy, but very much agreed from a point of view of, I think these are all well priced. And I think they're all delicious. And as we said, we can analyze, whatever it is that you prefer. But I think from a value proposition, this is really interesting. And it's probably, maybe this and the East London are the ones that have the biggest journey. It's like such variances in flavour. But I find that this has a lot more structure and balance to it. So as a finished product, I'm like, this is awesome. This is like exactly what I want. Whereas the East London was something interesting to analyse and talk about, So yes, super strong buy for me. Not quite getting the oosh, but it's well up there, 100%.
Nice.
So Georgie, we said at the beginning, we'll ask you what your favourite whiskey here today is, but also what you're excited about, what's coming up. So out of these 6 drams, apologies, that you have very kindly brought along to share with us today, what would be your number one and why?
Right now, for today, this moment.
It changes every day. Oh, listen, you don't have to explain that to me. I'm with you. It's like picking your favourite child. It's
I'm
impossible.
like, this moment in time. I actually really enjoyed revisiting our Nc'nean.
Cool.
I feel like it's the right time of day for it. It just hit really nicely today, and I love going back and just being like, gosh, that's so nice. Sorry, I know you don't like that.
No.
We're only joking.
I think maybe you should put but it's interesting.
It's just really tasty.
It is.
So that would be my one right now. But I am also really excited about our Starwards and just telling the story of them and Australian single malt, because like you guys, we spend more than half our time talking about the distilleries we work with. And I think Australian single malt, especially, that's exciting,
Yeah, for sure. So that's what you're most excited about, what's sort of coming up now that these are just...
coming up is obviously the launch of those, but then our Filden cast that's coming up in May, which, as I said, we sent some samples out the other day to someone, and someone just texted me going, wow, when can I get a bottle of this? And I was like, yeah, it's good. So I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
Cool.
And I'm doing a little bit of work. I'm doing a panel discussion with the Mr. Lion team actually about English whiskey. And I think English whiskey, especially at the moment with the GI on the horizon, it's just a really interesting category to explore more. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Georgie, thank you so much for coming along and sharing all of these wonderful whiskies, sharing your story. It's a shame we couldn't meet Fab, but definitely a second episode at some point soon. It would be wonderful to
He's the fun one.
Oh, well, then he must be great.
Next time. Sorry, Georgie, you can get these in pouches as well as tasters if you... No, sorry.
No,
ignore that. No.
I was getting to the fact that, obviously, so you can go to theheartcut.com.
You can go
if you want to buy any of these as full products. You are also working your way towards, I believe, a subscription service. Is that launched yet or not quite?
Yeah, it's launching, should be today, tomorrow.
By the time that this has gone out,
we will have a subscription service.
It will be live. So go to theheartcut.com and you can find out about that. And for people at home, what can they expect from that subscription
service?
It's called
the Slow Whisky Club, inspired by the art of slow swimming or slow coffee, the enjoyment of the journey.
Cool, okay.
I like outdoor swimming and my husband likes coffee. We both like coffee. So, it's kind of ties in quite nicely.
Okay.
And you get a box delivered to you every 2 or 3 months, depends on your preference. And in that box, it is a bit of a whiskey experience. So you don't just get a bottle of our whiskey. You also get 2 paired beers, 1 full strength, 1 low ABV. So you've got that really nice high-low pairing going on. I love a beer and whiskey side by side, but sometimes it can be a bit of a boozy combo. Having a low ABV beer means you get all the flavour, less of the hit.
Yeah.
And then you get 2 pouches of whiskey from... just whiskies that we're really enjoying at the moment. Cool. So there won't be the heart cut, but it might be, we did a tasting yesterday with Paul John and we had one of their whiskies and we were like, this is amazing. Like this could go in a pouch, for instance. So it's really cool stuff that we're trying at the moment. We're like, that needs to be on people's radar. So you get all of that in a really nice box and free delivery, and it's £84,
awesome.
Which is really good. Yeah, and you do a flavour quiz at the beginning, so we get to know what style of whiskey you like.
Oh, fantastic. So you're not going to receive a whiskey that probably isn't for you then. It's a good chance you'll receive stuff that you're really going to enjoy.
Because we're releasing whiskey really regularly, and if we release a peated whiskey and you're subscribed, and our latest release was peated, but we know you don't like peated, we're not going to send it to you. So we've got 15 whiskies within our range at the moment. So there's lots of, and those whiskies scan like the full spectrum of flavors, which is really cool. So we pick whiskies based on what we think you like and also what you haven't bought from us in the past.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very cool. Yeah.
Lots of very exciting stuff, guys. As we say, theheartcut.com. You can check it all out. You're also on Instagram, Facebook, all of these different places.
And the road, by the sounds of it.
And the road,
absolutely.
yes.
And travelling around a lot, doing different tasting events and all sorts of bits and pieces. So
we'll be at the Whiskey Show this year, which is
fantastic.
Exciting. We have a very small stand.
Wicked. Oh, congratulations. That's massive. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, and we're doing a show exclusive bottling.
Happy days.
Cool.
Yes, which is really cool.
Well, listen, congratulations for everything you've achieved thus far. I think today has certainly switched all of us on to the Heart Cut.
Definitely.
We are definitely going to be keeping a close eye on everything that you do moving forward. And we're really excited to watch you grow and develop. And like you say, hopefully sitting down with yourself and Fab at some point again soon. But for now, that has been all from us here at Uncut and Unfiltered. Thank you so much for coming, Georgie. Massive thank you to the Heart Cut, Dram Pirate, Whiskey Kid. We will see you next time. Slán se bheith.